The tale of the father and his daughter, the tale of Tenchio Agata and Aura Michibane mentioned earlier, was as close to a concrete example as the novels got to describe the Fullbringers that laid on the other side of the coin. In their tale, the father, a Fullbringer, would fall in love with a normal human woman. Great love existed between them, love that kept them together through many hardships. The normal human woman would eventually bear their child. Unfortunately, the mother would be attacked by a hollow, pushing Tenchio to make complete use of his Fullbring powers to defeat the hollow and save his beloved. Though she was able to safely deliver the child, her wounds were so severe that she dies afterwards. The child was a daughter and a Fullbringer. Having been born to a parent that was also a Fullbringer, she was effectively a second-generation Fullbringer, and as such, an occurrence that happened only once in a blue moon. What had tormented the father was the thought that his Fullbring blood may have mixed with his daughter, and as such, the hollow's attack of his beloved may have been due to its attraction to his Fullbring blood. In conclusion, the narratives account for why these Fullbringers that laid on the other side of the coin wanted to rid themselves of their powers was twofold. They did not want to live with the anxiety of being the target of hollows and exposing their families to that threat, very much like how the Bounds had been targeted by hollows. This experience in general is reminiscent to the first arc of Bleach, where hollows were the cause of suffering for many people, and those with high spirit energy, for instance, like Grand Fisher being attracted to Ichigo's high spirit energy. They also did not want to live hiding a truth about themselves from people in society that may react antagonistically should they discover this fact about them. These are the reasons that the Fullbringers wanted to rid themselves of their powers. Extremely fearful that Aura would face a similar predicament of either being attacked by hollows or catching the attention of normal humans, her father hid her away in a fish water tank-like room at the underground level of their mansion. Aura spent literally her entire childhood within the confines of that glass-composed tank, knowing nothing and no one that exists beyond it, except for her father, and as far as Aura knew, that room was the entire world from her perspective. She was only taught how to read and write, physical laws, and how to use her Fullbring to protect herself. He believed that teaching or exposing her to the outside world would only harm her and bring her unhappiness. 10 years passed by with Aura in that glass tank, after which her father says,
"Rejoice! You and I might be released from our curse. There's this Deputy Soul Reaper named Kugo Ginjo. He's gathering people. I don't know what a Deputy Soul Reaper is supposed to be, but we can trust this man, as he claims that he can absorb our hollow power from us. First, we'll check if it works on me. If nothing bad happens, then after that, Aura, you'll be able to live a normal life."
However, to Aura, who was confined all her life, that statement made little sense. Why would she want to get rid of her hollow powers, the source of their Fullbring? Her father, of course, as you can tell, went to see Ginjo and never came back, as that was the time the massacre had occurred. Waiting patiently, even someone with an extreme lack of knowledge and exposure, Aura realized that something unforeseen must have happened. However, of course, so far as Aura knew, her father had simply disappeared and left her behind. Being that only her father knew and had access to the underground room, left unattended to, Aura for the first time had experienced starvation, and so, using her Fullbring, she turned the glass constructs into sand and unlocked the room to reach the outside. Not realizing that she was still in the same building that housed the tank. She found some of her father's food, and with eagerness, she quickly consumed it, and she just as quickly spit it out, realizing it had gone bad. Quite a long time had passed as she waited for her father. Aura leaves the house and was found by a passerby and placed under a police officer's care. A little investigation revealed that a young girl had been confined all her life by her father. This information made headlines, and due to ignorance of her father's reasons, he was vilified and disparaged. Aura was handed over to her maternal side of the family, and due to her history with her father, she was given her maiden name, Michibane, as opposed to her father's, Agata. In her maternal household, she would go on to spend several years. Aura, unlike most or all Fullbringers, never developed an attachment, not even to her own life. Living within the glass tank, Aura never experienced hope or despair to even be able to differentiate or uphold either. She never had a moment in her life that made her think, "I value my life so much. I don't want to die. I want to live." The closest anything had come to arousing her emotions were her father's food, but neither that nor her father were present anymore. They may have eventually been the basis of her unique Fullbring. Aura was a very attractive woman, and it is thought that since she had not attracted the attention of any man or woman, it may have been that her Fullbring was the reason, as after all, Fullbring is fundamentally the ability to control and exert influence onto souls. Though she never felt anything mattered, Aura felt like her life was like a gear that was to keep rotating until her body eventually decays. Despite her experienced and expressed apathy, however, Aura had always felt like there was something missing within her being. The only answer she could give, if ever asked about what attachments she had in life, was,
"What's most important to me is the Fullbring that my dad taught me. That was what saved my life. Because of it, I can keep living. I need nothing else. I don't care about my father, but the Fullbring that my dad taught me is everything to me."
She actually says this answer verbatim to the same question presented. The one asking this question came before her after she defeated Hollows. She quickly realized that the person asking the question was unlike the other humans around, and that she was the only one that could see him, and as such, asked him to confirm if that were the case. He introduced himself as a Soul Reaper, and the only knowledge of Soul Reapers Aura had was the very brief mention of a deputy Soul Reaper named Kugo Ginjo that her father made before disappearing. So naturally she questioned whether the person before her was Ginjo. This Soul Reaper revealed that wasn't the case, and that he was responsible for her father's disappearance, further clarifying that her father had not just simply disappeared, but that he was killed by orders of the family that the Soul Reaper that stood before her belonged to, thus saving her the trouble of potentially searching for her father. This was much to Aura's surprise despite her apathetic nature. The Soul Reaper offered her a duel, in case that she holds a grudge against him given what he's told her. But due to her diminished affective capacity and apathetic nature, Aura lacked the drive to entertain such an activity, and rather questioned if he was going to kill her. The Soul Reaper revealed that he does in fact intend on killing her eventually, but perhaps he may not, depending on the circumstances, as he thinks she can be his pawn. Inquiring upon of what she would be, the Soul Reaper replied, "You have no attachment to this world, right? In that case, why not remake the world anew? If we create a new world, you might even be able to find an attachment there. Though the heart and the left arm ended up returning to the Quincy's, the thing inside you is also rather unique. I'd like you to become my pawn. I'll give you whatever you desire, to the extent I am able, that is." The Soul Reaper informs her that within her was the Saketsu of the Soul King, the core and source of a Soul Reaper's power, without which a Soul Reaper could not be one. All her life, Aura did only what she was told, from her time in the glass tank to the time she spent at her maternal family's household. And with this Soul Reaper, it was no different. She quite simply had no reason to object to his orders. Her life was mostly driven by momentum, in the same breath of her feeling like a moving gear discussed earlier. However, from a different angle, serving him was also an opportunity to use her Fullbring, the only thing she remotely had interest in, and the promise of potentially finding an attachment swayed her to follow this Soul Reaper, even if only subconsciously and so lightly. Aura would be tasked with several missions, and following his orders only intensified the sense she had of being nothing but a moving gear discussed earlier. Initially, they were simple orders like guard duties and defeating hollows. Later on, she was ordered to steal an inherited Zanpakuto of one of the great noble houses in the possession of its head, and then steal a miniaturized version of the Tenkai Ketsu made by Kisuke Urahara and mass-produce them. Eventually, however, she would be ordered to carry out several duties by the Soul Reaper for a sovereign. Using her Fullbring, she offers the Soul Reaper a Kyogoku, a valley of screams, from the Garganta. Within it, she would create a replica of the royal palace along with its floating cities, and to extol the crown, Aura would use her Fullbring that makes a phenomena such as beheading and reattaching her head as easy as a walk in the park. Using this Fullbring, under the guise of performing miracles, she would convince people to adhere and uphold a religion by the name of execution, wherein she would inform people of the true nature of the world, like the existence of Soul Reapers, Hollows, the Soul Society, Hell, and Hueco Mundo. And finally, she would preach that
I am nothing more than a humble servant of the god that rules death, in the shadow of chaos spanning 1,000 years. A new king shall be born to reign over each of the 3 worlds.
the reasons for these actions weren't exactly clear to Aura, and who the king or sovereign would be was unclear as well. Along the course of following the orders issued by the Soul Reaper, eventually she was asked to give birth, to create new life, the body of the king to come, by using her Fullbring on multiple souls of dead humans, Soul Reapers, Hollows, and Quincy's. It was no easy task, but she succeeded, and when life flowed through her creation, that was the first sight before her eyes that she genuinely smiled at. Her creation was given the name Hikone. She discovers that the Soul Reaper wanted to use the child that she had created to substitute what is called a Soul King. A Soul King being a person that maintains the physical stability of the universe and all of the worlds within it. Since the one that was to be the Soul King was the same child that resulted in her first genuine smile, the goal to Aura repainted her world. Or as the novels say, her world was rather a blank canvas that was painted by this goal. She finally developed a passion in life that she could set her heart to.
Hikone, the next Soul King.
However, eventually the child began to speak their own words, telling her,
You are, Aura. My master told me that you are like my mother. I don't really understand what a mother is, but thank you.
Looking at Hikone and how innocently they smiled, Aura immediately remembers her own innocent smile at the reflection of the glass tank. It was only then that she truly understood her father's emotions and the reason why he confined her in that underground glass tank room, which initially she believed wasn't right. She realized that making Hikone a substitute of the Soul King meant that Hikone would live a life akin to the one she lived in the glass tank as they maintained the world's stability. It was only then that she decided to oppose the Soul Reaper and ensure that Hikone gets a choice in the matter. Aura's apathy and passivity conclusively ended. She had developed love towards Hikone and has developed an ambition which is to oppose the Soul Reaper to ensure Hikone does not end up being a substitute of the Soul King. She was yet given more orders by the Soul Reaper. Of note, she was ordered to capture Kisuke Urahara so a Hogyoku can be made to finalize the transformation of Hikone into a Soul King. To ensure that she achieves her true objective, however, Ara had to be discreet, both in actions and in words. Inconspicuously, she allied herself with multiple people so her goal can truly be achieved. This allyship was brought about through covert means as well. And through a comprehensive saga and series of events, Ara would end up sacrificing her life for Hikone in pursuit of opposing this Soul Reaper.
Please do not misunderstand, Mr. Shuhei Sagi. I just want you to do me a favor. Please praise the god of death that the world of this child is blessed.